I've seen so many previously ons now that I'm genuinely starting to feel emotions like rage and anger. And you know how we process emotions over here at TV Sins.
Discount Jeremy hates previously on segments cliche.
I mean, good on the pyramid builders for thinking about the future needs of a tiny god Funko Pop collection in minimalistically appealing oil lamp cubicles.
You do realize that this room in the pyramid was built for this exact purpose, to house the statues of the gods? Seriously, what is the point of this sin?
The truck drove over the top of the dune this close to Layla and Mark and didn't see them. That's almost as ridiculous as Layla somehow spotting ammunition in the back of the truck as it speeds by at night.
The first part of your sin is contradicted by the second part. You asked how they didn't spot Layla and Steven, but then mentioned how it's nighttime and the visibility is therefore bad. Which is it? Should people be able to see or not?
But whatever you do, make sure you do not check inside the truck, just around, okay? There's no chance she went in there, so don't even bother.
I know you don't understand the most basic tactics, but these guys are on a truck with a mounted machine gun, meaning that they have a massive advantage over Layla while they're on said truck. To search inside the vehicle would require them leaving their advantageous position.
Oh, come on, Marvel. It's not like anyone believes you'd kill off your main character with only a few episodes remaining.
Okay, so this sin is a joke and is partially meant to set up a joke later in the video, but the problem is that it's simply not funny.
The suit was his best feature, wasn't it?
Judging a mark by its cover.
Unfunny joke is unfunny.
This high and mighty goat.
Pointing things out on the screen.
But I guess believing anything that comes out your mouth just shows what a plonker I am.
Steven's calling himself a for believing Mark while simultaneously being Mark. So now there are two plonkers plonking themselves. And what you don't know is this is now evolved to what the British call a Union Jack.
I honestly have no clue what this sin is even supposed to mean, so let's just sin it and move on.
I've been in situations like this before. So have I. It's the same body, isn't it? Muscle memory in that.
Steven is expecting to I still know Kung Fu his way through a small army of machine gunning goons after only yesterday objecting to even being part of any of this.
I see someone hasn't been paying attention. Steven originally objected to taking part in everything, but he came to accept the fact that he had no choice. However, he also doesn't want Mark to be in control because he's afraid of what Mark can and will do.
You smell like him.
I'll take things that sound romantic but are actually pretty f***ing creepy for 2 sins, please.
I'll take discount Jeremy throws in stupid sins that nobody cares about to bloat the runtime and sin count for 1 sin, please.
You're down.
Okay.
First.
What? Yeah. Great.
Before I belay.
Thank you. What's belay?
I still can't tell when you're joking or not.
As a general rule of thumb, anytime you know that the person you are rock climbing / abseiling with is currently presenting with a personality that you've only just met, I'd err on the side of not kidding.
Yup, but this is simply Layla's character. Why do you constantly sin characters for being themselves?
Also, what exactly is she belaying when she gets down there? Unless she's planning on immediately climbing back out, the belaying's done. And it certainly isn't for Steven's benefit, as evidenced by his rather abrupt belayless landing.
Belaying is basically just securing a climbing rope in a position that allows any climbers who fall to not fall very far, which is exactly what Layla did. As for the part about Steven, he was supposed to secure his rope before going down, but he fell before that could happen.
Also, if Layla is lacking this very basic concept, I think it's in Steven's best interest to delay the belay and say, hey, you okay? Before rappelling down and breaking all of the legs.
I get that this sin is meant as a joke, but it's really stupid. He's sinning somebody for not waiting to belay when that person fell on accident.
Are you okay?
I'm Aces. Yeah.
He fell from a great height, directly down into a tomb. He should not be Aces.
Jesus, obviously he's not. He only said that so she wouldn't worry about him. How do you not understand this very basic concept?
It's amazing.
It's amazing.
Look, let's leave the wordplay to the self-professed experts, shall we?
Discount Jeremy is a hypocrite cliche.
This whole structure is a symbol.
F you, dude. I'm not buying for a second that he's already been able to piece together an aerial view of the caves just based on walking through them for a few minutes.
He was able to observe the tomb shape by physically being inside. What's so unrealistic about that? Seriously, why shouldn't this work?
There are 6 paths.
6 paths seems important when they began to lay out the whole Horus's eye thing, but the symbol of the eye doesn't have 6 intersecting paths. So when they decide on the tongue path, how do they confidently decipher which of the 6 paths represents the tongue?
Hey Aaron, I have a suggestion for you. How about you just shut up and listen to what the show tells you? Maybe your questions will be answered then.
What? You think it's a map?
I mean, to be more accurate, this is a conveniently recalled symbol suddenly drawn on a conveniently reflective table that somehow very quickly became a convenient map.
It's adorable how you still don't know what the word convenient means. None of the things you just said are actual conveniences.
Hexahedcar.
Sorcerers of their time.
Fortunately for us, Steven's knowledge of Egyptology only stretches to the point where we, the audience, need something explaining.
Were you expecting him to know every single thing about ancient Egypt? Obviously his knowledge has limits. He's not fucking omniscient.
Right. You go.
Me.
unnecessarily splitting the party.
If it were you in the tomb, you'd keep the party together, which could potentially end up being disastrous, seeing as the reason for the split is so that they can scout out the chambers. If both of them went together and it turned out that there were enemies in a certain area, both of them would then be in danger instead of just one of them.
Yes, because the first thing you do after realizing the holes in the wall allow dead arms to jut through is to turn your back on the wall with the holes.
This is a great example of the TV Sin's people lying to their audience. Layla does not know that the mummy can reach through the walls. She hasn't seen it do that yet, so this sin is disingenuous.
Also, at some point, these, oh no, they died, fake outs are resolved so quickly you're left wondering, why bother? No one believes she actually fell to her death here, and even if we did, we're only allowed to sit with that suspense for like 8 seconds.
So you saw a scene where a character's fate was only in question for a few seconds, but you somehow think it was meant as a fake out? It obviously wasn't a fake out if they didn't spend any time with it.
Oh. He kissed her.
This is what is important to Mark right now. Everyone's in danger, and he's feeling the need to start a pissing contest with himself?
Yes. Why are you sinning Mark for being in character? It's stupid.
I think we're looking at the long-lost tomb of Alexander the Great.
Oh. Huh?
How the fuck is this confusing? Do you have the comprehension level of a toddler?
So why don't you just go ahead?
Good thing both these two came mic'd up so they could hear each other speaking very softly across this not insubstantial distance.
Or maybe the chamber is completely silent, and therefore their voices can be easily heard.
Floor is yours.
The floor may be Harrow's, but the walls are the mummy killer's walls, so stop leaning on it!
If she's leaning on an unbroken section of the wall, she's totally safe, and that's exactly what she's doing.
Everything inside me is like screaming not to open this thing.
Everything apart from the only actual voice inside him, which is, ironically, telling him to open it.
Discount Jeremy points things out on the screen cliché.
The symbol of a waiter serving a piping hot plate of 3 flaming hot dogs.
Yet more pointing things out on the screen.
So, what do you think?
I think it's super convenient that Alexander was great enough to line his loot in shiny reflective material that allowed this reflective conversation to continue.
Jesus Christ, you could have done at least 5 seconds of research on ancient Egypt before making this video, dude. Rich and powerful Egyptians decked out their tombs and coffins as a symbol of their wealth and power. This isn't convenient, it's realistic.
Talking to you, Mark!
Well, that was easy, for once. But why?
Because Steven and Mark both actually wanted to change places? How do you not get this?
How did he die?
Unless this conversation leads to the revelation that on the night of her father's death, Mark also found a secret exit out of the lost tomb of Alexander the Great, can we please put a pin in it until after they've escaped the angry men with the guns?
This scene is Layla being emotional because of what Harrow said and not thinking clearly as a result. Stop sending realistic character reactions.
Oh, come on, Marvel. It's not like anyone believes you'd actually kill off your main character with only a few episodes remaining.
And this is the joke that they set up earlier in the video. Was it worth it? Didn't think so.
It's pretty clear from this angle that Mark's falling down a flight of stairs before hitting the water. But then he doesn't.
But he actually did fall down the flight of stairs. His trajectory brought him away from the stairs and into the water.
I can't save anyone who won't save themselves.
But he doesn't care about redemption or second chances. His whole deal is stopping people before they even have a chance to redeem themselves, or before they even realize they have something that requires redemption.
His point is that people would not have to die under Ahmed's judgment if they were willing to save themselves from the choices that led to their sins. It makes sense for his character, but you're still incapable of understanding.
You're Dr. Stephen Grant.
Maybe so, but you've got pluck.
Imagine getting the call from Marvel that your cast is Stephen Grant in Moon Knight, and it's this role instead of what we've been seeing the past 3 episodes.
I can imagine it all I want, but it's still not a sin of this episode.
I took the liberty of borrowing the film you brought.
My actual sex tape?
Nope, you still don't know how to make these jokes.
How many times would you say you've seen that movie?
Despite all parental warnings, enough times to make him go blind, apparently.
Why the fuck is this a sin? Yeah, we get it, the screen is blurry, but why is that a mistake of the episode? It was done for a purpose.
Whatever bullshit this sarcophagus says that may or may not be important, but I don't have time to crack the code.
A whole bunch of bullshit.
How is this possible? I don't know.
Me either, but someone left their thermos mug and useless lamp here on this shelf.
Discount Jeremy points things out on the screen cliché.
Pointing like this must take too much effort. Stop it.
Everything wrong with Moon Knight the Tomb, ladies and gentlemen. Mark's pointing takes effort.
Mark just found Steven in a sarcophagus, and it was a pretty great reunion. Why would he pass up another one? Is it because the third personality inside isn't crying for help?
He doesn't want to open the third sarcophagus because he doesn't yet know that there's a third personality inside him, and he's obviously confused and therefore hesitant.
Also, Marvel did not release all 6 episodes at once, forcing me to spend far too much time in the deep dark holes of the Egyptian Lady Hippo subreddits.
That may have been meant as a joke, but it wasn't funny and it was stupid, so say it I shall.